Tariffs on imports, taxes imposed on goods brought into a country, can have both positive and negative effects on the host country's economy, industries, and consumers. Here's a breakdown of their key impacts.
Positive effects on the host country. Protection of domestic industries. Tariffs make imported goods more expensive, giving local producers a competitive advantage. Helps safeguard jobs and industries, e.g., manufacturing, agriculture, from foreign competition. Increased government revenue. Tariffs generate income for the government, which can be used for public spending. Encourages local production. Higher import costs may incentivize domestic companies to produce more, boosting self-sufficiency. Trade deficit reduction. If imports decrease due to tariffs, the trade balance may improve if exports remain stable. National security and strategic industries. Protects critical industries, e.g., steel, semiconductors, that are vital for defense or economic stability. Negative effects on the host country. Higher prices for consumers and businesses. Imported goods become more expensive, leading to inflation, e.g., electronics, cars, raw materials. Businesses relying on imported inputs face higher production costs, which may be passed on to consumers. Retaliatory tariffs and trade wars. Other countries may impose tariffs on the host country's exports, hurting domestic exporters, e.g., farmers, manufacturers. Reduced economic efficiency. Protectionism can lead to inefficiency, as domestic firms face less competitive pressure to innovate. Consumers may have fewer choices and lower quality products. Supply chain disruptions. If businesses depend on foreign materials, tariffs can disrupt production and raise costs. Potential job losses in export industries. If other countries retaliate, export-dependent sectors, e.g., agriculture, tech, may lose markets and jobs. Long-term considerations. Short-term gain versus long-term harm. While tariffs may help certain industries temporarily, they can reduce overall economic growth by distorting trade. Dependency on protectionism. If industries rely too much on tariffs, they may become less competitive globally. Alternative policies. Instead of tariffs, subsidies or investments in domestic industries might be more effective without raising consumer prices. Examples in practice. U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs, 2018. Protected domestic producers but raised costs for car manufacturers and led to retaliatory tariffs on U.S. agricultural exports. EU tariffs on Chinese EVs, 2024, aim to protect European automakers but could increase EV prices for consumers. Conclusion. Tariffs can benefit specific industries and government revenues, but often come at the cost of higher prices, trade conflicts, and economic inefficiency. The net effect depends on how they are implemented and whether other policies, like domestic subsidies, could achieve similar goals with fewer downsides. Which consumer group suffers the full effect of tariffs? The consumer group that suffers the full effect of tariffs is typically low and middle income households. Here's why. Higher prices hit lower income consumers hardest. Tariffs increase the cost of imported goods, e.g., clothing, electronics, food, and these costs are often passed on to consumers. Low-income households spend a larger share of their income on basic necessities, so price increases affect them more severely than wealthier consumers. Limited substitution options. Wealthier consumers can switch to domestically produced or premium alternatives, but lower-income buyers often rely on cheaper imported goods. Example, a tariff on imported shoes might lead to higher prices at discount stores, where low-income shoppers buy, while high-end shoppers can afford domestic brands. Indirect costs from downstream industries. Many domestic manufacturers rely on imported raw materials, e.g., steel, electronics components. Tariffs raise their production costs, leading to higher prices for final goods, e.g., cars, appliances, which disproportionately affect budget-conscious buyers. Wage stagnation and job risks. If tariffs lead to retaliation, e.g., other countries taxing U.S. agricultural exports, workers in export industries, e.g., farmers, factory workers, may lose income. Low-wage workers in these sectors are especially vulnerable. Inflation and reduced purchasing power. Tariffs contribute to broad price increases, inflation, which erode real wages. Since lower-income households have less savings, they feel the pinch more than high-income consumers. Example cases: Trump's washing machine tariffs, 2018. Prices rose 12%, hitting low-income buyers hardest, Brookings Institution study. EU tariffs on Chinese EVs could make affordable electric cars more expensive, delaying adoption by middle-class consumers. While tariffs are often justified as protecting domestic jobs, their full burden falls disproportionately on low and middle-income consumers, who spend more of their earnings on tariff-affected goods and have fewer alternatives. Wealthier households, in contrast, can absorb the costs more easily. So how is lifestyle of consumers impacted by the tariffs? How tariffs impact consumers' lifestyles. Tariffs don't just raise prices. They can significantly alter spending habits, consumption choices, and overall quality of life for different income groups. Here's how they affect consumers' lifestyles. Reduced purchasing power and budget squeeze. Higher prices on everyday goods, clothing, groceries, electronics force consumers to cut back on other expenses. Low-income families may skip meals, delay medical care, or forego education expenses to afford tariff-hit products. Example: U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods, 2018-2019, increased prices on furniture, appliances, and electronics, straining household budgets. Fewer choices and lower quality alternatives. Tariffs can reduce competition, leading to fewer imported options, e.g., only expensive domestic brands remain. Lower quality goods if domestic producers face no foreign competition. Example: EU tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles 2024 may limit affordable EV options, slowing green adoption. Delayed upgrades and big-ticket purchases. Consumers postpone buying cars, phones, or home appliances due to inflated prices. Middle-class families may hold on to old cars or phones longer, reducing efficiency and safety. Example: U.S. steel tariffs raised car prices by $300–700 per vehicle, 2018, pushing some buyers out of the market. Shifts in consumption patterns. Consumers switch to cheaper, often inferior substitutes. Buying second-hand goods instead of new ones. Opting for generic brands over preferred imports. Example: after Mexico imposed tariffs on U.S. pork, consumers shifted to cheaper, lower-quality local meat. Increased financial stress and debt. Rising costs on essentials, food, gas, utilities, may force households to rely on credit cards or loans. Example: tariffs on Canadian aluminum, 2020, raised beer and soda can costs, adding to grocery bills. Impact on health and nutrition. Tariffs on fresh produce, dairy, or meat can lead to less nutritious diets, switching to processed foods. Higher food insecurity in low-income households. Example: U.S. tariffs on Mexican avocados and tomatoes, 2019, led to price spikes, making healthy foods less affordable. Slower adoption of new technology. Tariffs on electronics, phones, laptops, EVs make them more expensive, delaying access for average consumers. Example: U.S. tariffs on Chinese tech, e.g., semiconductors, could slow 5G and AI adoption due to higher costs. Regional and industry-specific disruptions. Farmers and factory workers may suffer if trade wars reduce exports, leading to job losses. Example: China's retaliatory tariffs on U.S. soybeans 2018 hurt American farmers, reducing rural incomes. Who suffers most? Consumer group lifestyle impact. Low-income cuts essentials, food, medicine, relies on debt, buys lower quality goods. Middle class delays big purchases, cars, homes, switches to cheaper brands. High income, minimal impact, can absorb higher prices or buy premium alternatives. Conclusion: a decline in living standards. While tariffs may protect certain industries, their net effect is often a lower standard of living for average consumers, especially low and middle income households. The higher costs, reduced choices, and financial strain alter spending habits, delay upgrades, and even impact health and nutrition. For policymakers, the challenge is balancing protectionism with the real cost to consumers' lifestyles. Alternatives like subsidies for domestic production or trade negotiations might achieve similar goals without as much consumer pain.